morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you for tuning in to Three Best Ways podcast. Allowed me to reintroduce myself. My name is Shon, S-H-O-N, from True Digital, a digital marketing genius by day, and a really cool podcaster on the other days. I am with my super group, my team, Katrina Keys and Demetri Chambers, and I will pass it to Katrina Keys.
Hello, my name is Katrina Keys, and I'm an owner of Network Connection NIA 5.0, and I also own C&D HR Consulting, and my goal is to build relationships that last a lifetime.
Hello, I'm Demetri Chambers. I am a business attorney and problem solver. I really enjoy helping small to mid-sized businesses solve problems and avoid litigation and thrive as businesses. The main reason is that businesses help other people. They provide income for families. They provide college education for employees who have children that go to college. So by helping businesses, I'm helping others. So that's what I love to do.
And with the three of us together, the reason for this podcast is for us to only, help each other, not to only help each other, what I wanted to say, but to also give back to the small business community by bringing on guests that can really help during these situations, that could give great advice. I'm blessed to have such a good fellow in my life. His name is Mark Haywood. Really good friend of mine. We won't even go there, right? He's family to me. And, the one thing that I can appreciate about him is that he's a straight shooter. He's brutally honest. He's going to tell you if you got it and if you don't. But the best thing about Mark is he's going to do his research. He's going to figure out if you don't have it, then what you need to do to get to it. And then once you get to it, how you're going to keep it. So I want to introduce Mark Haywood of Northwestern Mutual to our podcast. Mark, good morning, Mike.
Good morning, good sir. It's an honor and a privilege to be here amongst a distinguished group of gentlemen and lady.
Absolutely. So I've known Mark for quite a long time. I wanted to kind of start with going a little bit about his background. He's a financial advisor, but obviously he wasn't born into this game. So we want to kind of take a little bit, a quick moment to go back in time to learn how'd you go from being Mark Haywood to being Mark Haywood, the financial advisor?
Oh, great question. So it all started when I was a twinkle in my father's eye. No, seriously, quick background on me. So I'm originally from California, born in Sacramento, lived in LA, came out here to Houston, graduated Cornell University after doing their undergrad, economics and Africana studies, returned to Houston, where I started working on the corporate side of finance at the Boeing company. I supported the space station. And during that time, I got my Master's of Science in Finance from University of Houston. Well, somewhere along the way, my career plateaued, and I realized I was very stable. I was too stable. What I mean by I was too stable, I wasn't getting promoted, demoted, moved laterally. Literally, I was stuck. So I figured, okay, probably the only way I'm going to be able to advance my career is that I'm going to have to leave. But before I leave, I need to get my financial affairs in order. So I lobbed a phone call to my father. And I said, hey, Dad, this is what I'm thinking about. What do you think? And he said, well, I think you should call my guy at Northwestern Mutual. So I said, okay. Well, I called his guy at Northwestern Mutual and I said, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing with my own personal finances. Just wanted to get some feedback and your thoughts because my dad respects you. And that gentleman from Northwestern said two things I did not expect. The first thing he said was, you seem to know an abnormal amount about this. And I said, well, yeah, if I'm going to figure out what to do with my own finances, I want to do some research. I'm not just trying to go into this thing blind, right? And so he said, well, then why don't you do this for yourself? And I said, well, I don't understand what you mean. And so he said, well, if you already know so much and this is of interest to you, then why don't you do this as your own career? And I said, well, honestly, until you asked me that question, I never thought about it. And so he said, well, do you want to know more about what I do? I said, sure, tell me more. And so he taught me how he built his financial services practice over the course of, decades. And I said, you know what, that's very interesting. And so he said, well, I'll tell you what, if I could find some information for the Houston office, would you be interested? Now, to be brutally honest, again, I'm originally from California. So I'm used to Hollywood talk. You know, people saying a whole lot of what they're going to do, but never come through on it. So I said, okay, sure. Yeah, you know, you get the information. Go ahead, pass it over to me, right? So the next day, I'm driving into my office. As I pull into the office garage, a phone call from a California number comes through, and I answer it. Now, keep in mind, it's 8 a.m. that I'm pulling into the parking garage, which means it's 6 a.m. Pacific time. And when I pick up the phone, it's not his team, it's him. So now I'm stunned, and I was not expecting this phone call. And he said, well, yeah, hey, I happen to have the information for the Houston office. Do you want it? And then I think in my head, what seemed like an eternity, I was like, well, I mean, and I think what actually came out was, sure. So got the number, made the phone call, got some introductions, went through some interviews. Fast forward 8 years later, and 8 years, matter of fact, as of August 4th, here I am.
I love that story. Yes.
That's awesome.
So, what would you
So someone going to chime in, or we just all blown away here?
I'm blown away. Yes.
So,
You know-
oh, okay, my bad. I didn't want to jump in.
No, it's fine. You know, you talked a little bit about your background, and I'm sure one of the next questions was, you know, really give people a little more insight into what you do and how you can help them.
Sure, absolutely. So I am a financial advisor. Now, as a financial advisor, there's a lot of different iterations to what a financial advisor does. So what I'll do is I'll try to summarize it. There's really 3 types of financial advisors. One is called a broker. Now, broker basically is what I call the point and shoot guy. That is someone that you go to where you say, hey, I want to buy this insurance product. I want to buy this stock. I want to buy this mutual fund. I need you to go out and get it for me because I'm not licensed to do it myself. So that's a broker. Then you also have advisors, or what's called an advisory relationship. Now, that's where you actually have someone that has more discretionary authority. So whereas the broker is the point and shoot guy, the advisor says, well, hey, based on where you are at this stage of life, this is what I think you should buy. You should get this. You should do this. You should look into this strategy. So whereas in the broker relationship, the broker turns all the discretionary, and discretion is just a means of saying, you know, who makes the decision or who provides the advice. Discretion is on the individual rather than the broker. Advisory discretion is on the advisor, not the client. And then the last is what's called the planner. So the planner actually says, okay, well, based on where you are and, you know, this, you know, particular area that's of interest to you, here's what I would do. And they actually lay out step by step the things that you should do in order to accomplish the task. So those are the 3 types. Now, there's also a lot of hybrid models. I'm more of a hybrid. So I am a broker. I am an advisor. I also am a planner. So you do come across those people that do all 3.
Okay. Awesome. When you think about what you do, what is the most common misconception that people have? You know, when they meet you, what's the first thing that you get that you have to correct in some cases?
That you have to have a lot of money to have an advisor. That's not the case. I tell everybody, to give you an idea of the range of clients that I've dealt with in my career. I've dealt with the $10 million guy who has real estate properties all over the country and literally just spends his free time doing Christian missionary work, traveling between here and Nigeria. So I've dealt with that guy. And I've also dealt with a young lady that only made $20,000 a year working as a clerk at Steinmark. So here's my point. What I tell everybody is that from the $10 million guy to the $20,000 young lady, you probably fall somewhere in between. And therefore, everybody, I don't care how much money you have or do not have, everybody could benefit from having a conversation with a financial advisor, if for no other reason than to just point you in the right direction.
Awesome. Thank you. Great information.
I love your energy. Are you that way all the time?
I don't know, Kareem, can you attest to that?
Yeah, pretty much. I think this is his laid back approach, actually.
Okay.
Yes, I'm very calm at this point in the morning.
At this point. Tell me, how would you describe your best work? What are you doing when you're doing your best work?
Ooh, that is a fantastic question. I would say when I'm doing my best work, I'm working on an exceptionally complicated case. The reason why I like complicated cases is because it allows me to pull in multiple specialists and multiple tools in my arsenal. What I share with people is that going through a planning process usually is going to entail three things. It's going to entail some risk management. So that's making sure that the person and their cash flow is protected if anything happens to that individual, whether they get ill, injured, disabled, prematurely passed away, or quite frankly, just lost their job or their business folds, right? So that's the risk management side. Then you got the wealth accumulation side. So that's making sure that that individual or their entity is stockpiling their financial resources short, medium, and long term so that they can retire, pay off debt, put down on a dream home, expand their operations, whatever it is, we just need to make sure that they have money to have options. And then lastly, wealth protection. And wealth protection is really dealing with how can we keep as much money inside that person's pocket as possible and keep as many hands outside of that person's pocket as possible. Because there's a lot of people that want to get in your pockets besides family. So for example, one big entity that wants to get in everybody's pocket, the IRS. And I don't know anybody that wants to pay more in taxes, right?
Right.
And then there's creditors, right? Because nobody likes debt or having to pay high interest on that debt. And then, well, I've become a very big fan of this TV show called Suits. And I've discovered that there's this other group called lawyers who might want to get in your pockets with bankruptcies, judgments, lawsuits, liens, things of that nature. No disrespect, brother. We like you. So we'll talk about those other attorneys.
Right.
So my best work is figuring out a way to comprehensively take all of those pieces to create a plan that knocks all those people out of the box so that what they have is kept intact, is growing in the meantime, and provides them a safety net underneath them along the way. That's when I'm really doing my best work.
Thank you.
With that being said, how does someone go about selecting a financial advisor?
That's a fantastic question. So I would say two parts. One is more professional, one part is more personal. So on the professional side, you just want to find someone who's licensed and credentialed. So there are a variety of licensing exams that people have to take. So for example, you want to find someone that has their Group 1, which means that they can provide you insurance products. You want someone that can do investments. So you might want to find someone that has their Series 6 and 63, which allows you to get involved in mutual funds and exchange traded funds. And then if you want to do individual securities or buy individual stocks or individual bonds, then you want to find someone that has a Series 7 license, which is one of the harder license designations in order to get it. And I would say that's on the professional side. So you want to find someone who's licensed, and then depending on your particular needs, you might want to find someone who's credentialed. If you have a very complicated estate plan because you want to leave, X amount of properties and X amount of dollars and X amount of assets to family members, then you might want to find someone who is a CFP or a certified financial planner or a chartered financial counselor, a CHFC, So, there's different licenses and different credentials. And the good part is that literally all of this is available on Google. You can literally look it up. There are national registries that are federally regulated so that you can find out what people's licenses are and what their credentials are. So it is held across a few different databases. And then that's on the professional side. Now on the personal side, I tell everybody the best way to find a financial advisor is through relationships, because more than likely, if your friend has a financial advisor and your friend trusts them, well, then more than likely you'll be able to trust them also, because a lot of what we do really is based on relationships. I don't know, I put it to you like this. If you have a good barber, Kareem, granted, you came home a long time ago, but if you have a good barber, right, and your barber is doing his thing, he's edging you up, right, you're going to say, when your buddy shows up in the town, you're like, hey, you want to talk to my mans over here, right? It's right. The same thing with a financial advisor. So if your financial advisor has been taking care of you, you're probably going to want to introduce him or her to several of your friends. So I would say that's the best way to find an advisor. So number one, look up the person or see if you can find someone in your area, but also just ask your friends and see who already has a financial advisor and ask for an introduction.
From time to time, I do go see a barber about all this. From time to time.
The edge up is looking rather crispy, good sir. I see that.
I just wanted to point that out. And I think somewhere along the way, my hair just made a wrong turn in Albuquerque and just wanted to take a different route. And this is where we are today. Thank you very much. I got another good question, then I'll be quiet because I'm sure Demetri got a few. And this is what's really big on my mind. I keep up with the market. It swings back and forth. It seems like a gut-wrenching thing to even want to get involved in as far as, investing in the market stuff like that. With all the craziness going on, is there ever a good time to invest?
Yes. And the best time to invest is now. And if you would have asked me this question 6 months ago before coronavirus broke out, I would have said, yes, the time is now. And if you would have asked me 12 years ago when the bubble burst in 2008, 2009, I would have said, yes. Here's the thing that I remind people about the stock market. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So there's never a better time to invest and develop a plan than right now, because long term, it is going to pay off. Here's an interesting factoid. What you'll discover when you study the stock market is that on a rolling 10-year average, so I mean, I don't care, virtually any slice of the stock market, whether you go from 1920 to 1930 or 1945 to 1955, or even 1998 to 2008, what you will find is that on a rolling 10-year average, there is virtually no point in time where if you put money in that first year, it didn't grow by that 10th year on a rolling 10-year average. Now, there's a few exceptions, but then when you expand that from 10 years to 15 years, there is absolutely no point in time where if you put money in year one, it didn't grow by year 15. So here's what that teaches us. What that teaches us is that we need to invest now, but with a vision for the future. Not that we're trying to, day trade and try to get a quick lick and cash out, the next day. Some people do that, but most people, don't have the time to sit in front of a computer and execute all of that. So the best time to invest is right now, and just be slow and steady about it. And I don't care whether the market is up or the market is down. It's always a good time to start, because long term, you'll be better off for it.
Gotcha.
How would you describe the type of client that's best fit for you, that you can do your best work for?
Great. I would put that into three groups. The first group I would say is, well, everybody that's on this call right now, small business owners, small to medium-sized business owners. I work with a lot of individuals who are either just getting started, or they've kind of gotten to the point where their business is starting to cash flow, and now they need to figure out what to do with their resources. How can they best insulate themselves? How can they best compensate themselves? If they have a staff, how can they best compensate their staff? How can they retain their staff? So I would say small to medium-sized business owners would be one group. The second group I would say would be medical and dental professionals. I work with a lot of individuals that make a decent amount of money in the medical and dental field. But as you can imagine, being in the medical or dental field, you're very, very busy. You're so busy, you're highly compensated, but you're also so busy that you really don't have time to plan for yourself. So in that regard, what I share with those individuals, similar to what I share with the business owner, is that my goal is to be your CFO. What I learned about the most successful CEOs in this country is that they chart the course and they hire everybody else to execute. They're not in all of the weeds of the finances, right? They know just enough to understand what's going on, and understanding what financial resources they have. They then say, okay, now understanding that, this is what I can do with those resources. So what I share with people is that if you're a small business owner, I want to help be the CFO of your company so you can chart the course and I can help plan the money to get you there. If you're in the medical or dental field, I want to be your CFO so that you can chart the course, not just in your medical career, but also in your life. And I'll make sure that you have the financial resources to hit those milestones. And then the last group would be what I call the alphabet soup. And what I mean by the alphabet soup, I mean, when they hand you their business card, they have all those letters at the end of their name, the JDs, the MBAs, the MSFs, the PMPs, the et cetera, right? I do believe that, well, it's called what it is, right? Like attracts like. I see they're pointing to there you go. Katrina, it sounds like you have a lot of alphabet soup at the end of your name. Okay. So yeah, so that's another group that I work very well with. And that's just because I believe like attracts like, right? So, I'm not saying this to brag, it's just a fact. I've gone to a variety of universities. I've gotten a variety of degrees. So I feel like I can talk the language of everybody from the janitor to the CEO. So because of that, like attracts like. So I would say that's another group of people that I tend to do some of my best work with.
Awesome. That is so good. Yeah, that's quite funny. Yeah, you did describe me, so whatever. It's fine. Anyway, I love
it. You don't know me. You don't know my life.
I love every single letter. I worked hard for every single letter.
Absolutely.
So one of the things I'm really known for, Mark, is that I always say I want to build relationships that last a lifetime and have the ability to impact lives. So when you think about your business, how are you able to impact lives in your business?
Oh, excellent question. So I would say the best way that I'm able to impact lives is through my motto and my vision for the company. For my practice, I've always said that my goal is to make sure that anybody I sit in front of is a little bit better off today than they were yesterday. That's it. You know, we're not trying to make any dramatic changes overnight. I just want them to be a little bit better today than they were yesterday. So that could be something as simple as, you know what, this couple has been mired in debt. Let's come up with a strategy to get you out of it. That can be as simple as, well, you know what, you are a person that's about to go into medical school, and you know what, you need to start some sort of savings mechanism. Okay, well, let's just create this basic plan, doing whatever it is that you can. And you know what, when you get into residency, then, you know, you go from being broke to being semi-broke. So, okay, let's figure out a plan with that semi-brokenness, right? Or that can be as intricate as, you know, you're a very highly compensated executive at a company, and we need to figure out how to allow you to accumulate these resources, but also mitigate your taxes along the way. So, you know, a lot of what I do really in order to be value added is to just, first of all, sit down with an individual or a couple or, you know, a board or something like that, and just get an understanding of where are you and where are you trying to get to. You know, what I tell everybody is that it's great to do all this strategizing and financial planning, but let's face it, I don't know anybody that's trying to stack $1 million just to sit it in the corner and stare at it. Everybody's going to do something life or business oriented with their money. So the first thing I'll do is I'll say, I want to understand your vision, your values, and your goals. I want you to have the peace of mind of knowing if you execute this financial strategy here, it's because it gets you closer to this personal or professional goal over here. Because if what you're doing financially does not get you closer to your life goals or your professional goals, then we probably need to question what you're doing, why you're doing it, or if you even should be doing it at all. So that's how I make an impact. I try to make sure that a person's financial decisions are aligned with their life decisions, so they don't feel like they're just going through the motions. I want them to have some tangible life event attached to whatever it is that we're executing. And if you can make sure that your resources allow you to execute that life or professional or business event, then that's where I make my impact.
Awesome. Great.
So I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. What is the best way to not lose money?
Okay, the best way to not lose money. I'll say that the best way to, now, first of all, this is where the financial advisor has to kick in, right? This is the disclaimer.
Yes,
right?
yes, because
anytime you put money in the market, there's potential for loss.
I'm that guy that wants to stack the million and look at it in the corner. So
Okay,
you're talking to me.
Okay, all right. So I want to make sure I'm clear. Anytime you put money into the market, there's a potential for loss. Okay, it is what it is. We know three things about the stock market: it goes up, it goes down, and the big question mark is we don't know when it's going to do either one. Okay, so what I share with people is that the goal of a financial plan is not necessarily to not lose money as much as it is to develop a plan that allows you to withstand the ebbs and flows of a possible reduction in your money. So to the extent possible, what I tell everybody is that as you're growing your resources, you need to have safety nets, right? Because you can create different buckets for different reasons at different times. So you can have your safe bucket over here that we know come hella high water. It's not going to grow a whole lot, but you know what? If the market tanks, we know that this amount of money is going to be there. You know, we have this amount of money that's your, you know, aggressive bucket. Now that can go up and down with the highs and lows of the market. We'll have your bucket over here that's your home run bucket. This is your, you know, business, your private equity, your startup company, or whatever that is, where you can channel your resources into your own, and when I say private equity, I mean literally your own idea or thought that you're trying to get angel investors for, right? Mm-hmm. So that could be your home run bucket, because guess what? If, you know, the reason I call it a home run bucket, I call it the Babe Ruth effect. Babe Ruth at a certain point in time had the record for the most home runs. You also know he had the biggest record for strikeouts. So this home run bucket could be boom or bust. But if it goes bust, that's okay, because you got this aggressive bucket right here. And if this aggressive bucket happens to go down some, well, that's okay, because we got this safe bucket over here. So the real premise is to just make sure that there's, to a certain degree, you can't help from avoiding loss. There are some times that there are shocks in the market where you can't run or you can't hide. Coronavirus has taught us that, okay? But what you can do is that for those times when you have a significant market contraction, just make sure that you create different buckets. And whether it's on, you know, I'm just going to tuck some cash under the mattress side, or I'm going to get this insurance plan side, or I'm going to, you know, put this amount of safe dollars in my investment account. As long as you've got those safety nets, they can catch you to help you mitigate your loss, even if not necessarily avoid a loss. That's the best way I would say that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Care concern. So thank you very much for this. It's been amazing.
Not a problem. It's an honor and privilege to be able to help, and anything I can do to help anyone that's even listening, I'm sure you guys will, find ways to post my information, contact, whatnot. Like I said, I'm here to help. And so if I were to give any last bits of advice, what I would share with everybody is it's not too late. Today is the best day to start. Today is the best time to take one small step forward to being a little bit better today than you were the day prior. So if I were to give any recommendation, I would say plan early, plan often, plan with what you have, and just plan consistently. And over time, you'll get to where you're trying to get to.
And on that note, could you please plug where people can find you, to inbox you, or however they could get in contact with you?
Sure. So you can go to my website, www.haywood.com. And that's mark-haywood.com. You can also contact me via cell. My phone number is 607-280-7500. And you can also shoot me an email at mark.haywood, HAYWOOD, @NM, as in Northwestern Mutual.com.
Sweet. And we'll make sure to edit that in at the end so people can see that as well. But dude, this has been incredibly great. I knew that it would be because you're a great guy. You do great things. There's nothing else for me to say, bro. You've shown improve, as you say. And for me to close out, so I'm Shon Tillman. You can follow me on Twitter at Shon_Tillman for marketing advice, services, whatever it may be. You can check us out on our website at www.truedigitalmktg.com. And I'm out. I'm done. Katrina, Demetri is on you.
I'm Katrina Keys, and you can find me on LinkedIn under Katrina, Katrina Keys, Keys, or you can also find me on Instagram at Katrina NIA 5.0 on Instagram. So let me know if you need anything. My number is 713-678-0468.
And I am Demetri Chambers. I'm a business attorney. I help small to mid-sized businesses either avoid legal crisis or move forward and be proactive. You can find me on my cell phone at 972-839-6125, or you can email me at dc@walkerchambers.com. My website is walkerchambers.com. Thank you.
And we all respond. We all follow back. Again, thank you for everyone's time. Thank you for listening. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the button, or whichever way those things are set up. With peace and love, we appreciate y'all. Have a good one.
Thank you.